Click to go live. Come on, click.
I got my good dice ready.
Please go
And
live.
my potatoes.
Precious.
Potatoes.
Hello, my friends.
Potatoes precious.
Hello, Kitty Powell. Hello, everyone. Click to go live with the freebie melee.
Everyone.
Everybody. I know, don't say
You know, no creepy selves.
Don't say a word. Don't say a freaking word. Hold on.
Oh, crap. I don't have my telephone.
You need a telephone for sure.
I don't have
Kitty.
Time stuff.
Oh, I've got mine. I can time us.
Oh, right.
I want to hear about Kitty's dream that we were all in. Kitty, start typing.
Yes,
that sounds
please.
Great.
Yes. We're talking about Joss Whedon today. Yes, we're talking about Kitty's dream today. And we're saying hi to Amy Cox today. Yeah. How's everybody diddly doing out there in the real world?
Real world.
Bing, 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 bing. Okay. Well, I guess we'll get on it, eh, peoples? Shall we do what we do what we like to call roll initiative?
Roll initiative. We shall.
Okay.
I'm gonna do it. I see Evan's already done with his virtual dice. I'm gonna do it with my real live dice. I rolled a 17 plus 2. That's a 19.
Ooh.
Much better than my performance last week.
Performance matters. Oh god. Crit 1.
Ouch.
Sorry, everybody.
Still add your modifier.
That's true. I got a 4. I got a 4.
Big
4, everybody.
And a 17 for me. That means, AK, you're up.
AK.
Now, right. Evan doesn't have his phone, so Matt, do you have yours so you can give me 30 seconds, or am I timing myself, which is also fine?
You might have to time yourself. Yeah, we broke a bunch of things right before I did anyway. Broke a bunch of things. We added some weird things all of a sudden. So
listen, I'm a strong, empowered female who don't need no man.
Yeah,
that's also true.
Time yourself.
Yeah,
I can time myself.
Time yourself. Treat yourself. Time yourself. Just tell me when.
Alrighty, ready, steady, go. This week, I fell back in love with potatoes. I've been eating a lot of potatoes lately, and I learned that if I put potatoes on a salad, I am 1,000% more likely to eat a salad. So put potatoes on salads if you're afraid of green things like me. I did a lot in the world of email marketing this week. That was terrible. I hated it. I did a lot of my Figma web design. That was wonderful. And I didn't watch a single good thing, which is why my background is potatoes, and that is 30 seconds.
Wow.
Potatoes precious.
That is really good.
Potatoes precious.
I think that's your best 30 seconds to date. Everybody who doesn't like a potato.
It had everything. It had potatoes. It had drama. Therefore, it had excitement. And then, like, the twist was you actually didn't do much, but it sounded like a whole lot.
I was in bed at like 8:00 most days this week, which I have no regrets.
How?
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't say I was asleep at 8:00. I said I was in bed playing on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
that's all right.
I like it. I like it. I like to wind down early.
Yeah.
Wow. Taters.
Yeah.
Come at me if you don't like taters.
Come at me, gentlemen. So, brother, it's your turn. And Allison, would you mind being...
I got this.
Thank you.
I'm on it. I love having a job.
Mm-hmm.
Ready, steady, and go.
So I didn't do a deep dive this week the way that I did last week with the band Ghost, but I did find a new series. Elise and I were in a show hole, and we found this series. And it is amazing. I can't speak high enough about it. It's about a gentleman thief in Paris who is outsmarting everyone. I can talk more about it, but not in less than 30 seconds. But it's great. Watch it.
Wow.
Evan, if you would kindly stop now, please. You didn't like my noise last week, so was that a more soothing exit in your?
Yes,
I
that's
was
a much better.
Oops, sorry. I was soothed. I was definitely soothed.
Yeah, and ironically, I'd already stopped talking, which is a feat for me because that's not usually my first choice to stop talking.
May I ask a couple of Lupin questions?
I have to be honest. When you first told us about Lupin, I was like, "Is this about werewolves? Like, is this the continuation of Professor Lupin?"
Sure. But I think Lupin isn't that the name for rabbit in French? Do I have that right?
Yes.
Or wrong?
Help us, people. Those that speak
Francophiles. Yes, hit me with your questions, brother.
Lapine. Lapine.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, yes.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
Madam Kaufman and Madam Parker are not happy with me. I had to Google that wherever they are. Maybe they're watching.
Maybe they're dead.
I'm glad that they're dead. I'm not glad they're dead. Yeah. Anyway, so I've seen it. Of course, you guys have been raving about it all week.
Watched it.
Yeah. So the question is, I have not seen it, but it said that part 2 is coming soon. Is it a movie or is it a program?
It is a program. It's the first, I think, hit Netflix series in French. They call season 1 part 1, but it is I don't know how many episodes, but it is. It is part 1. To whet your appetite just a little bit more, Lupin is actually, there's a series of books in the 19th century about the gentleman burglar Arsène. I'm not going to begin to try to do a French accurate pronunciation, but Arsène Lupin. These were real books. And the character in this series is a boy who grew up in the 80s. His father had given him one of these books, and it inspired him to become this gentleman burglar, this gentleman thief, this kind of mastermind. So it's, I was just reading in Wikipedia that the author of these books had pitted Lupin against Sherlock Holmes, and then was subsequently sued by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and forced to change the character. It's like Lupin versus Sherlock Holmes. And then he had to change it to Lupin versus Herlock Sholmes. Right. It's weird. Anyway, so this character, and that's really all I'll tell you, but this guy featured behind me who is so amazing, so good.
Wow.
In the show, he's been in things that he was in X-Men, Days of Future Past. He was Bishop. He's was in, I think, Jurassic World. So you've probably seen him before, but not in a leading role like this. It's good. It's real good. It'll suck you in like that. Promise.
And just so everybody is aware, it is there. You can put subtitles on. I watched an internet preview of it and thought that the whole thing was overdubbed, and I was like, I'm not watching that. Evan was like,
don't do that to yourself.
There's subtitles, so don't make the same mistake I did and rule it out without all the information.
Speaking of which, I will say this very quickly. I'm delighted to know that you and Elise are finally into watching subtitles.
The gateway drug had to be a mystery involving murder and death, a thriller of some kind. I've been working on her for Dark. She's still not jacked about that, but I still want to see it. So
maybe it's a you thing. All right, sorry. All right, I'm ready to speak.
Maddie, you ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, go.
Oh, hello. I could just look at this for 30 seconds. This was my weekend, pretty much right after I left everybody, all weekend long. Look, it's Chicago. I'm not complaining. I'm actually not complaining. It's not fun, but it is very intense, and you kind of have to stay on it every couple of hours, or else it's heart attack land. Just passing that on. But we've built forts, we've built tunnels. It's all good now.
Stop, Maddie, stop.
Also, I also have puppies because I just found out that it's Super Bowl Sunday. I had no idea. Is it really Bowl Sunday this
Yeah, it's
Sunday?
really Super Bowl Sunday. The Chiefs and those people in Florida that Tom Brady now plays for are playing
Not at
sports ball.
all. So, of course, we're going to be watching puppies. I'm excited now. I'm excited. I had no idea.
I reminded Matt and Evan just before we began this broadcast that in 2016 I went to the Super Bowl because that's how I feel about sports ball.
Yeah.
Matt and I are very different people and very
are.
alike people sometimes too.
Yeah.
Goes
It's
both
a
ways.
nice touch. So yes, we are going to play. Speaking of videos, we're going to try to play a video. I don't know whether YouTube stops us or something. But before that, we did promise to talk about Kitty's
Kitty, we need your dream. Tell us about
Kitty's
your
dream. Here we go. I'm going to try to put it
Only-
on there. I don't know how. Okay.
I
here we
haven't
Is it
seen it.
family
Okay.
friendly?
It was a concert, and Matt had wind chimes, which he didn't hit the way I thought he should. You failure. And he called me out about it rudely.
go. Oof.
So during a break or something, I came up to him and told him how hurt I was, and he gave me a hug. AK was there just kind of running around and talking to everyone. Okay, well, that sounds on brand. And I was concerned because no one was wearing masks, and I was convinced we were all going to get the Rona.
I understand that.
I saw
fear.
Evan, you tweeted about like stress dreams where nobody's wearing masks this
Yeah,
week.
someone-
Is this a
there
thing
was a-
we're all doing now?
There was a tweet going around just saying like, are you dreaming about people not having masks or not having a mask in public? And I've had multiple of them, and specifically ones where Jump has been playing shows. Either people are not masked or they're not masked and I'm not masked, whatever. So yes, or I can relate to you there, Kitty. I will say that criticizing one's wind chime playing is in and of itself rude. So if Matt's reaction to you might have been apropos, don't get off my wind chime junk, is what Matt probably said.
Yeah, that's probably what I said. Wind chime junk. It was nice
Get
to
up
see
off
you
my
too.
wind chime junk.
My wind junk.
It was nice to see you too in our dream selves, Kitty. But yes, you. That being said, I give you carte blanche to criticize my wind chime playing because it doesn't exist, to be honest.
Here's the thing.
That's
Is
not-
there really
it's
more
not-
than one way to play a wind chime?
Um,
I don't think there is.
About
is there a different? I don't know.
I think it's like maybe it's right to left or right. That maybe those are your options, right? If you wanna go-
or maybe like did you like pick up one and just like let it boing and
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Oh, sure. Like those that thing you have on your desk. That,
Yes.
Sure. Maybe Matt has really eccentric wind chime technique.
Well, that would make
Would it-
sense.
like Matt would find strange ways to play wind chimes. I'm convinced. I
Sure.
buy this. Whole dream
I love it.
scenario.
I love it.
So,
Yes.
why are we here this week? What are we talking about, and what category does it fall under?
Yes.
We are here to spill the tea on
The
Joss
tea.
Whedon and cancel culture. It's
Yes.
what we are
Yeah.
here to do.
Okay. All right.
So is this a segment called "Is It Awesome"? Is that what we're talking about?
I think this could fall under. Is this awesome?
Potatoes.
Potatoes.
Next time,
Yeah.
When I start singing in my Cookie Monster voice, I want you guys to back me up immediately with some death metal chunking. Jump, 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 jump. Okay.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Wherever
yes,
you
sir.
are, wherever you are out there, wherever you are.
No, I mean when I'm singing this awesome thing. This awesome. Pretty good.
Is that the wind
Pretty
chimes?
good.
Is that the wind
Yeah,
chimes?
it's on the wind chimes. Matt was on the yard sprinkler.
I like the
Our
rhythmical
metal
ones.
band with wind chimes.
Yeah.
I think that's what King was doing. It wasn't a jump show. It was what did we name our metal band? We named our metal band something last week, but I've already forgotten. It was
You
that
probably had
show.
one this week, Biv. Did you have one from the crew this week?
We named it. What did we name ourselves? We named ourselves something hilarious. Okay, whatever. The thought's gone.
Yeah, I can't. You have to write,
the
you have to
Muffin
write it
Man.
down.
But anyway,
The Muffin Man.
here.
Listeners, all right, friends, stay on task.
Okay, thank you, Amy. Thank you, Amy. Yes, this is the Friday Melee where we talk about nerdy things. We've recently been trying to talk more about nerdy things that you guys would care about, and this might have struck a chord. So a little preamble on target though. I could safely say at least probably three of us are pretty big Joss Whedon fans as far as his past body of work. Joss Whedon, the artist. I do not know Joss Whedon, the man. Do not know him. The very necessary Me Too movement took down a bunch of clowns, and Joss was kind of involved in that, as with Garrison Keillor, which I'm still scratching my head about that one, but it happens. And anyway, so Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Avengers, Firefly, which is the biggest metist one. Honestly, he did an incredible. Was it 12th Night? He got bored. Yeah. He got bored one time. It wasn't 12th
Much
Night.
Ado.
Much Ado.
It was Much Ado. Yes.
I think it was Much Ado in his house. Yeah. I went and I was like, well, whatever. It was great. I loved it.
During the writer's strike.
He was just bored and made a movie.
But then,
we're not talking about how genius he is. Yeah. Oh, and then there's Dollhouse. So it's hit or miss, but I also love him for that. Right? I also love a man who is not afraid to fail, who does fail, who can bring me some of the best TV I've seen and some of the worst. Then there's, we don't want to talk about The Avengers versus Justice League, please, because yikes, Justice League.
Are you comparing Joss against Joss there?
Yeah. Right, I'm saying he can bring it with the Avengers, and he can ruin it with Justice League, right? So this man is not perfect to begin with. But he is very, his work, his body of work has had a big impact on my life. And so he's coming out, they are coming out with a new show called The Nevers, which Evan has been very excited about for a while, correct?
Well, I mean, curious about it. I don't know if excitement might be, well, that's why we're having this conversation.
Yes.
It's about the levels of excitement.
Yes.
I've certainly been aware of it. It's an HBO show that when I first heard about it, I thought, ooh, that's cool. It's the first time that sounds like Joss would maybe get a little more leeway than he typically does. Like his series have been on Fox or other networks, like, I guess it was the WB for Buffy back in the day. Yeah. So, you're kind of constrained to a certain degree. But I think like Dollhouse was on Fox and, just... Or even Firefly, I think, was on a regular network, and it's just, I don't think it's the right fit. So HBO plus Joss, I thought, okay, great, he'll just do whatever he wants to.
Right.
But then he's no longer working on the Nevers.
Right. Number one, he's not working on it anymore.
He's abandoned it already before the first season has come out.
Yeah.
Stating that the pandemic was just too much. The show was too epic and that he couldn't deal with it. And so he's gone. The show will continue without him. So red flag, I suppose, number one is that typically when Joss has worked on a show, personally, hands-on, they shine, right? Like the beginning of Buffy.
I was about to say Buffy seasons 1 through 3 and 6, but not 4 and 5.
Yeah,
7.
Right.
6, maybe
7.
not so much.
4, 5, 6 were 7 better. Got it. Yes,
I think he came back every now and then and would do an episode, and you go like, "Oh, Joss is back," right?
Yeah.
And of course, Firefly. Anyways, and then when he would go, it was like the sun had set, right? Like no one could get him on the phone at the production office. Like, I don't know.
He was out.
We have an important question from Lindsay Jean here. I think you should throw it up on the screen.
Oh, sure. Okay, sorry. Yes, quick break. Nope, this one. Are those potatoes? Yeah,
Yes, they are.
they are. Yes,
Yes, they are.
yes.
Anyways, so now that a question that I actually don't know with Dollhouse, how much day to day did he have involved?
Mm-hmm.
It was a really interesting concept that was like completely jumbled up and made no sense, handling something really sensitive about like human trafficking essentially, and then turning into the sci-fi story that was like, eesh, yikes. So how I don't know how involved he was personally or not. So anyway, the idea of him leaving the Nevers, what's going to happen? Will it suffer? Will it be better? Who knows? But here's the thing. Here's the reason why we're here. I watched the trailer. It just came out this week. And I thought, okay, this looks pretty good. The article that I read on IO9 was pretty positive about it. I just found it hard to get excited having read Kai Cole's, his ex-wife's, kind of open letter about their divorce and the kind of person he is. I do believe that, for the most part, artists, you can separate their work and who they are. But here's the thing with Joss. His shows tend to be about strong female characters, which is fantastic, right? But after you read that, I couldn't unread her blog post, right? And she's kind of saying like, yeah, he's a hypocrite out there, trying to create strong female characters. Meanwhile, he's having an affair with the people who were working on his show. Right. He's betraying me. Like, it's all this stuff. It's like the antithesis of what he's trying to promote. So a show that features, sorry, go ahead.
Wasn't it someone from Justice League who said that he created a really toxic work environment for everybody? Yeah. But I'm guessing
the actor, I don't remember his name, the actor who played Cyborg, yes, had lots of very bad things to say about Joss. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not, I don't know Kai Cole. I don't know if she's an honest person, obviously, but it's not hard to believe what she's saying is the truth. So we're just here. I don't really know that much about cancel culture. I'm a white guy, right? Like, I'm as privileged as it gets. Yes. So it's a topic I want to be sensitive about, and it's particularly like putting my opinion about cancel culture out there, given my privilege. But I just found it odd. Like, oh man, it's just weird. I can't get as excited about this show because what I know about him. But that's weird. Is that weird? Is it weird? So that's what we're talking about here today.
It's also weird, yeah. It's also weird. But I mean, yeah. So, let's just say Tom Cruise, right? So Tom Cruise, similarly, not in the same realm, but in the same kind of, how do I separate the artist from their work? I kind of like Tom Cruise. I kind of always have. And he does do dumb, flashy things, and he does sometimes do really cool things. And it's yes. And it feels weird. It feels weird for any artist. It's a complicated thing. It's a complicated thing. And what do you do? Yeah. What do you do, Allison?
Well, Sarah's made a really excellent distinction here, and this is one I'm struggling with, as I think a lot of people might be, not exactly in the same vein, but how do we feel about Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling moving forward?
Yeah, sure.
And I've kind of given myself the grace to continue to enjoy the books that I already own, the movies that I already have, but maybe not continue to fund her in any way, shape, or form. I don't need to pour another penny into the Harry Potter enterprise because of the way that she's doubled down on some really horrible. And that's the other part, is finding the difference between someone's opinion, if we just wanted to look at Tom Cruise's Scientology, for example, is that harmful? Can it be harmful? Is he using it in a harmful way, or is it just a belief system that he has?
Right.
Versus the Me Too movement, where I don't think that that's a difference of opinion. Like that's pretty, for the most part, cut and dry bad behavior.
I do have another example, and I'll make this quick. But there is a movie called Music, and it was directed by Sia, one of my favorite artists. You know, probably my guiltiest pleasure is Sia, and the trailer has come out. It actually got an incredible review at for the Golden Globe. I think it's nominated for a Golden Globe, and she got into big trouble because she cast that one of the main characters is on the autism spectrum. The character is, and she got into huge trouble because she did not cast this character did not cast them as, you know, use an actor who is on autism spectrum. And I wanted to really kind of give her the benefit of the doubt at first, but we did watch the trailer the other day, and this is not like light, like on the low end of the autism spectrum, like this the level that I might be on. This is like Rain Man. This is like what's eating Gilbert Grape. And look, Leo DiCaprio, amazing, and that was a different time, and I don't know that he would ever do that again, but he was great. You can't do that now. You just can't do that. And I'm sure that she's arguing because this same actor also then has to dance and sing as if they do not have, they're not on the spectrum, they're not autistic, but that's not good enough, man. That is not good enough. You cast a different actor that you use that actor, but use that for that. There are plays that happen where they use deaf actors, and then they have hearing actors that shadow them, and it works beautifully. It's the way it's supposed to be. After seeing this trailer, I'll just another quick aside. I got super panicked because I had heard that there's going to be a TV show called Hawkeye, and it's going to tell the story of the female Hawkeye, and in it is going to be one of my favorite characters called Echo, the first sort of deaf superhero, created by Brian Michael Bendis. And I was like, oh man, there's no way. But they did. They cast a deaf and Native American actor, so it can be done. I'm sorry. It's. Yeah, look, my point, Lindsay and I talked about this a long time, and my point was, look, yes, you might not be able to find, if that's your choice, to not use an actor that is that far on the spectrum, that is, you know, but you could still hire an actor that was autistic, and therefore it would be genuine. There would be understanding. There would be, I don't know.
Well, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the thing on the Sia point was, she did wrong, understandably. It's the doubling down that gets you in trouble every time.
Yes.
If Sia had said,
yes,
you're right, I should have. Like, if I could go back and do it over, be like
why
able
fight?
To be educated. Why fight? And same thing with J.K. Rowling, though. The second that somebody pointed out her transphobic statement, she doubled down on it.
I know.
I'm sorry, I'm learning. Like, I'm not always the best ally. I say things as a white woman of privilege out of line, but you have to be teachable. Right. And I think that's, you know, when Evan first brought up that he wanted to talk about cancel culture, I absolutely believe in giving people, you know, second, even third chances sometimes, depending on the offense, but not if they're not teachable. Yeah. So that's I'll step off my soapbox now. But yeah, that for me was the thing that stood out in the Sia thing, Matt, was the doubling down on Twitter and fighting people in a really ugly, harmful way. Yeah. About it. Yeah.
Jesse says it gives people the assumption that gives people the assumption. That's the point. There are people, of course, that there are skilled actors that are autistic and deaf and blind and so on and so forth. But yes, it's again, why fight it? You have to be able to think and say, oh, you're right. You're right, Jesse. Actually, I don't want anyone to think that there aren't artists that are autistic. Yeah. That's just. Ugh.
I think I shared this with you guys, maybe even on a Melee. But the very first show I ever saw on Broadway was Hairspray. Oh. And it was when Marissa Jarrett Winokur was still in the lead role, but the night I went, she was out, and her understudy, Shoshana Bean, was in. Shoshana Bean is a phenomenal actress. She is not fat. She played Tracy Turnblad
Yeah.
in a fat suit. And as a fat
Yeah.
actress, I have
Yeah.
a problem with that because I know that there are women of size out there who would kill for that role. And Hairspray had already won Tonys and had made back its investment. They could have hired a standby and didn't have to rely on, a swing in the chorus to be an understudy for that role. And I remember, so I can only imagine how it must feel to be on the spectrum, to be deaf, to be blind, to be anything else, and see whatever you are misrepresented.
Yeah.
It's harmful. So, soapbox.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep hopping on
No,
and hopping
no.
on and hopping on.
And these are important because it's these, whether you're deaf, whether you are, you have a disability, it's your culture, your ethnicity, your what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, whether it's your body, whatever it may be, when that becomes integral to the character and the story, then it matters, right? That's what you're saying, AK. It matters. It matters to the character's name is Tracy Turnblad. It's been so long since I've seen Hairspray.
Tracy Turnblad. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It matters, right? It matters.
It does.
So,
the whole story is built around Tracy's size.
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
the crux
Right.
of what we're dealing
you-
with in the entire. And there are other. It takes place in Baltimore during the Civil Rights era, so there are certainly. I wouldn't cast a white actor to play someone of color. It's kind of that same thing.
And this is the distinction that and thank you for bringing that up, because there is a distinction. Our mother is an actor, and she uses the term actor rather than actress because she believes that as an actor, part of your job is to be without any preconception. She's played men. I don't think she's ever been forced to do any kind of uncomfortable ethnic transformation, but you're supposed to be kind of moldable clay as an actor, right? It's sexless to her. So, in the Harry Potter, in the Hermione on Broadway has been portrayed by a black actor and in London. So that's different, right? That is not, that has nothing to do with the core of who Hermione is as, or to the story. So anyway, just pointing out the obvious, but and it's the same thing here with the Nevers, right? That's the part that's been hard for me to separate. I think in Facebook I was chatting with a few people. Donna Montgomery had some great ideas. Carrie Kennedy, we were kind of chatting all about it. And we were talking about, supporting, like if Michael Jackson was still around and he put out a new record, would I want to give him my money? Probably not. But it's not going to stop me from listening to Thriller. And with the Nevers, with Joss Whedon, just knowing that he's a creep and he's still trying to do that thing with strong female characters. And he's a creep.
Like we won't notice. Like we'll just be like, oh yes, forgive it for being a creep.
And like Lindsay said in the chat a little while ago, Joss is not the only writer out there who can write strong female characters for science fiction or otherwise.
That's very true.
So Joss maybe hit the road. There are plenty of amazing. Just off the top of my head, some of my favorite comic writers, Gail Simone, and then Kelly Thompson. Speaking of Hawkeye, some of my favorite comic writers who hopefully. Hopefully Kelly's work will be transferred to the new Hawkeye series. Aside here, brother, do you think that they're going to incorporate Hawkeye's deafness, and that's why they're bringing in Echo?
That there is that speculation on the internet, which would be fucking cool.
That'd be pretty cool. So people who don't read comic books, the character Hawkeye, if you've seen the Avengers movies, you know what we're talking about. In the comics, he is actually deaf, or at least partially deaf, right? But he knows sign language.
He does. He learned sign language. It is an injury related deafness, right? An accident related deafness, I think. And so it seemed like some of it was also psychological because he kind of went back to a place. But he's wearing a hearing aid and there's a spectrum of deafness, of course, as well. But the point was not necessarily that this beloved character was suddenly deaf. The point was that this beloved character had this experience, and then Matt Fraction was able to write a comic book that was gorgeous, and it was silent. There were no words, and it was all spoken through ASL, which was just, it was just different. It was the artist, Matt Fraction in this case, really stretching himself and then giving this color to Hawkeye. And comic characters, they have lots of colors. They do all kinds of things, and they change and they retcon and so on, back and forth. But anyway, that would be fun. That would be cool, I think.
That's an aside. So we'll find out when we watch Hawkeye.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
I don't
know. Joss Whedon and/or the Nevers. So let me cap this
awesome?
by, because I know we're going pretty long, but let me just cap this with another question. Aside from cancel culture, aside from the controversy of him being in a sweep A, potentially, the other feeling that I had was, why do I care about this?
Yeah.
Like, how is this show going to be different from X-Men? I just saw it like, a group of super people. How is it going to, it's set in Victorian era. So that's...
Yeah, doing it in corsets and hoop skirts. That's why we care. That's why I care.
Well, I love a good, I'm a huge Sherlock Holmes fan. I love a hoop skirt. Let me show you my collection. That's good flavor, right?
Yeah.
But if you've ever read the Wild Card books, if you're aware of the X-Men or any other super team, but specifically ones where people are normal people, and then all of a sudden they're
not normal.
A group swath of them, like it's the 4800. Was this? Is that the 4800? That's a series from the early
Heroes.
Heroes. Like, how is this going to be any different? Do you guys have an opinion? Do you have a take on this? Do you care?
Sarah does. Sarah has a good one.
I'd say I really want to. Yeah, Sarah's. I had not thought of that or heard of that, and
it could be. It could be that. I would buy into that too. That would be really interesting. A metaphor for anything, right? Like, yes. But certainly that. That would really be. Yeah, that would be cool. I don't know. I guess what we're saying. Is, and maybe especially because he did step down, we were going to probably watch the Nevers and talk about it and see maybe. Ish.
Oh, for sure. I'm definitely going to give it a chance.
I'm in the biggest of show holes. I keep watching like Gilmore Girls and Friends, so
they have mutant powers too.
I'm going to. I just, how you have to be in first of all, knowing that I'm going to have to read subtitles. I knew I was not in headspace for that this week, and sometimes, you just want it. Watching stuff over and over again is the audiovisual equivalent of comfort food. Sometimes you just want to know how it ends and want to know it's all going to be okay, and don't want to be stressed out with learning new characters. So here I am.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. I get it.
I didn't love Ted Lasso, Sarah, and I broke Matt's brain when I shared that with him earlier this week. He that was going to be a slam dunk for me. I did love The Morning Show, if we're talking about Apple TV. Matt
you're
was
full
really,
of mystery. You're full of surprises.
Sure that I was going to love Ted because I'm a sports ball fanatic of Team Bivens Brothers Creative.
And a Southerner. And
a Southerner.
But, to each his own. To each his own. I still think you should watch May Destroy You, but...
I'm going to. I'll probably put that in before Lupin. Sorry, Evan.
We only have so much time.
Did you? I'll say this. Have you watched the BBC Sherlock series?
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Did you enjoy it?
Loved it.
Then you will like Lupin.
Okay.
It's very much in that vibe of Matt, oh man, he's so brilliant. He's just, you're just waiting to see how he has outsmarted everybody.
Yeah, no, I loved Sherlock.
Well, you're going to love this. And Omar Sy, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. His last name is spelled S-Y. But he's handsome, he's charismatic, he's just badass and cool.
Lindsay just saw the picture, so she was like, that guy's hot. So
he's hot. He's super hot.
Sometimes.
It is
He's
important.
hot, but he's also got like this kind of like your best friend wholesome vibe to it, right? He's
nice.
not like
All right.
smoky. Here, I'll see if I can get out of the way. See, he looks
Yeah.
very friendly
He does.
and
He does.
smoky, right? He's not as
Yeah,
intimidating.
yes.
Serious.
And I noticed the same when I watched
Could
the
hold you.
trailer. He did look both like smoking hot and incredibly jovial and friendly. I think that's
Yes.
important.
And that's part of the charm of the character as well.
Yeah.
So,
I think that it's hilarious that we're like up in arms over Me Too and empowering everybody, and then we're talking about who's hot.
Sorry, everybody. You're right. Cancel
One
us.
character is
Cancel
super
culture.
sexy, and that's
hotness
That's
is
all
a
I
fact
need.
of life. Hotness is a fact
you
of
guys
life.
only watch this because
It's hot.
we're hot. Don't front. I can't believe I just said that out loud.
We only watch Ted Lasso because he's hot.
Ooh, he's got Cary Grant vibes. That's a good point. Cary Grant was, chiseled, handsome, but friendly. He wasn't like I'm trying to think of one of Cary Grant's peers of the
Hudson?
day. Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Rock Hudson?
Who's like a little more intense, right? Like sexy, but like
Mhm,
kind of scary. Cary Grant was your, but he also wasn't. Oh geez, gosh, Evan, use your words from Rear Window. Jimmy Stewart, like Jimmy was on the
Yeah.
goofier release end of the. He was Tom Hanks.
He was the Tom Hanks.
He was right. Tom
Yeah,
Hanks
no.
is
Tom
is
Hanks
Jimmy
is
Stewart.
You didn't know what was happening in there,
Yeah.
Anyways,
For
everybody go watch that.
go watch TV. We're gonna call it a night. I will say for anybody who tuned in just to hear my recommendation for a book, I'll just say real quick. It's called Subcutanean. It is really, really interesting. No book is the same. It's slightly different. This writer is really cool. So Subcutanean. Go check it out if you're looking for a book. We rarely talk about books, but see what you think.
I do like reading.
Reading's fun.
Well, I guess I should go eat some potatoes.
Yes, please go eat some potatoes. Go eat some potatoes, precious.
Potatoes.
Go eat some potatoes, precious. And I'm gonna eat some pizza. And Evan is.
We're
Burgies?
gonna have we're gonna have barbecue jackfruit.
Ooh.
Oh, treat
Sandwiches.
yourself.
Yeah.
All right. I love all of
don't
it.
know what I'm gonna have for dinner. If you know what I should eat for dinner, please drop a comment below.
Please, let our friend know. We love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thanks for talking
Kitty,
to us
Brooke.
about things. Even if you aren't nerds and you're just interesting, Kitty and Amy, Brooke and Noy and everybody, it means a lot. And we'll see you next week, right? On the Friday Melee.